Exactly. I despise being exploited, she said coldly. It seemed we had no choice but to head into the cave ourselves. Who would finally be the bait would depend on fate. The dragon lady's gaze sharpened with determination. At that moment, the Cyclops and his group approached us. The four strangers who had just arrived looked at the dragon lady, their faces filled with awe at her aura of nobility. They paid little attention to me. One man even whispered to the Cyclops, "Who is she, anyway?" The Cyclops replied nonchalantly, "Just a lowly follower." The implication was clear, I was merely the dragon lady's attendant. "Dragon King, everyone is accounted for," the Cyclops announced. The dragon lady remained calm. "Where did you go earlier?" she asked. "Oh, it's nothing, just a minor incident," the Cyclops dismissed her question. But his eyes began scrutinizing us, clearly calculating how to use us as bait. They weren't even subtle about it anymore. The dragon lady's gaze flashed coldly. "Come on, let's move along," the Cyclops urged, then signaled to the others to start preparing at the altar, impatient as could be. The 8 of them crowded around the altar, with the dragon lady and I following behind. "What if Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation is too far away from here?" someone worried aloud. "Yeah, if he's too far, it might cause complications. The warding formation won't last long if that's the case," another chimed in. "Stop overthinking and focus on locating him," the Cyclops ordered impatiently. "Start the ritual." He began forming hand seals. A small burst of white light flew from his fingertips toward a candle. With a loud whoosh, the candle ignited, emitting an eerie green flame. The Cyclops completed his segment of the ritual, and the others followed suit. Streams of white light shot toward the candles, causing one green flame after another to flare up. A crystal orb at the center of the altar began to glow with a spiritual radiance. It resembled a monitor screen, but the image on it was blurry. Could they really locate Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation this way? "Dragon King, quickly, make your move, this is serious," the Cyclops urged. I glanced at the dragon lady. She nodded, raising her finger and releasing a beam of light. The 9th candle ignited, its green flames blazing even brighter. With all 9 candles burning, the green light from the crystal orb intensified. Soon, the orb began flashing images at a rapid pace, so fast they dazzled the eye, making it hard to discern anything clearly. I was astonished. This crystal orb was a truly extraordinary artifact. "Put more effort into it," the Cyclops shouted. The group exerted themselves to the limit, sweat beading on their foreheads. The dragon lady maintained her composure, even as her power surged. The candles burned more brightly, and the images on the crystal orb began to stabilize and slow down. Eventually, clear scenes emerged, a chaotic mix of men and women, most of them unfamiliar, accompanied by faint noise. The images felt eerie. I watched intently. Suddenly, among the crowd, I spotted a young man. He appeared to be around 20 years old, refined-looking, dressed in traditional robes, carrying the scholarly air of a Confucian. On his back hung a peachwood sword, while his waist bore 7 or 8 pouches, bulging slightly. This couldn't be anyone other than someone from 1,000 years ago. Could he really be Jiang Jiuxuan in his past life? With his chiseled features and heroic demeanor, he looked every bit the wandering swordsman, freshly initiated and brimming with a sense of justice. It was only a matter of time before life's harsh realities would temper that idealism. When I saw him, I felt an odd sense of connection, warm and instinctive. "Who is that?" I asked aloud, momentarily dazed. Here's the processed result of the content requested, adhering to the original paragraph structure, format, and layout. Who gave you permission to speak? Got an itch in your mouth? Don't you know even the slightest mistake while casting a spell can ruin everything? A man roared at me. It failed last time because someone spoke during the casting. "Dragon King, I don't care if he's one of yours, he needs discipline. So unruly. If he were my subordinate, I'd have slapped him several times by now. Useless troublemaker. Can't accomplish anything but sure knows how to mess things up. Go find somewhere else to loiter." Others began expressing their dissatisfaction. The one-eyed man frowned. I snapped out of my daze and saw they were glaring at me with utter disdain. I frowned back, small skills but big rules. The Yangtze dragon lady narrowed her eyes and paused her casting. The one-eyed man's expression changed. "Dragon King, what are you doing? Are you saying no one can speak now?" The Yangtze dragon lady asked coldly. "Not really, it's just that this spellcasting is critical, so we need to be cautious," a man retorted stubbornly. Smack! The Yangtze dragon lady marched over and slapped him directly. "Who told you to speak? Can't keep your mouth shut? Do you want to ruin this important spellcasting?" The man was stunned, after all, he was a sect leader. His face flushed with anger. "Dragon King, you!" Smack! She struck him again, harder, leaving his lip bleeding and his cheek swollen. Her overwhelming strength and aura crushed him. He didn't dare make a sound. The one-eyed man was startled, and the others were dumbfounded. Dragon King, isn't this a bit too much? He's the leader of the coffin sect, one-eyed man said. Do you want this casting to fail too? The Yangtze dragon lady shot him a piercing glare. The one-eyed man's eyes flickered with anger, but he held back and softened his tone. Dragon King, we were wrong earlier, but surely just speaking a bit wouldn't hurt. You think it's no big deal? The Yangtze dragon lady questioned. No big deal, the one-eyed man nodded. Though displeased, the group read the room. Especially the man who had been slapped, he looked like he'd love nothing more than to skin the dragon lady alive. If it's no big deal, why all the fuss earlier? The Yangtze dragon lady said indifferently. The one-eyed man's face reddened, left speechless. The dragon lady then announced to the crowd, the person in this crystal ball is Jiang Jiuxuan. I gave a nod. This crystal ball reveals some things Jiang Jiuxuan experienced in his previous life, she continued. I nodded again. The one-eyed man and his group looked visibly displeased. You're not continuing, the dragon lady asked. Of course, let's keep going, the one-eyed man prompted. The spellcasting resumed. The crystal ball's image began changing once more. But their hostile gazes remained fixated on me, like a thorn in their side, ready to confront me at any moment. I wasn't bothered. In this place, all parties treated each other like bait. Conflicts were inevitable. What intrigued me most was learning more about Jiang Jiuxuan's life. The scene showed what the dragon lady had described. Although I'd heard these stories before, witnessing them stirred an uncontrollable rage within me. I wanted to kill someone to vent this fury. As I watched the moment of Jiang Jiuxuan's death, the crystal ball flickered and revealed a boy of 3 or 4. His delicate features and sharp gaze already hinted at greatness, even at such a young age. Could this boy be Jiang Jiuxuan's first reincarnation? And what exactly happened to Jiang Jiuxuan that led to his end? The crystal ball, though mysterious, seemed limited in what it could reveal. While I stood stunned, staring at this boy, a shadow in the darkness suddenly emerged. A knife lunged directly into the child's chest. The boy didn't show any pain. He simply closed his eyes and collapsed lifelessly. I was utterly shocked. Jiang Jiuxuan's first reincarnation was brutally killed like this? Why had it come to this? Watching this scene filled me with both sorrow and rage. The one-eyed man and his group, however, remained indifferent. It was clear they had already seen this during the spellcasting. It's karma. Jiang Jiuxuan must have done something horrendous to deserve this. Can't even make it past 10 years old on his first reincarnation, someone sneered. Exactly. He vanished after setting up a formation, leaving us searching for years. Talk about evil, another chimed in, full of schadenfreude. Their gloating infuriated me. This is your own doing. And yet, even now, all you can do is blame others? The group's expressions soured. The one-eyed man snapped, aren't you overreacting? We weren't talking about you, so why the anger? Exactly. We were discussing Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnations, not you. Your outrage is absurd. This has nothing to do with you. Why don't you step aside, since you're not helping anyway? Their attitude made it clear how much my rebuke had provoked them. Unanimously, they dismissed the possibility that Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation could ever be me. And what if it is me? I sneered coldly. I had already discussed with the Yangtze dragon lady to intentionally make the reincarnation appear as me, to use this to our advantage against them. The one-eyed man and the others froze momentarily, then burst out laughing. You're just the Dragon King's lackey. Talk about delusions of grandeur. If you're Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation, I'll take your surname. Seriously. Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation couldn't possibly be you. Have you even looked in a mirror? Are you just here to stir up trouble? Why don't you claim you're the Jade Emperor's reincarnation while you're at it? Their ridicule was dripping with arrogance, as if I were a clown to them. If the dragon lady weren't present, they'd undoubtedly have gone even further with their mockery. The one-eyed man coughed, attempting to dismiss me. Kid, enough jokes. This doesn't concern you, go take a rest. I could only respond with a cold laugh. The Yangtze dragon lady narrowed her eyes, and the one-eyed group quickly coughed awkwardly, opting not to pursue the topic. Dragon King, he's overthinking it. The person we're looking for is sure to be more well hidden, not someone right under our noses. It's too early to say that now, the dragon lady said coolly. I guarantee it's not him. You'll see I'm right soon enough, the one-eyed man declared dismissively, avoiding further attention on me. The spellcasting resumed, revealing Jiang Jiuxuan's second reincarnation, another tragic end. At 12 years old, he was struck by a car. In his third life, he was snatched up by a red-eyed fox shortly after birth. His fourth life ended before it even began when he and his mother both died during a failed delivery. My anger boiled over. Who was targeting Jiang Jiuxuan? Why had he met such cruel fates in every reincarnation, never even making it to adulthood? The Yangtze dragon lady's gaze grew icy. Someone is deliberately targeting him. I nodded in agreement, my thoughts consumed by vengeful fury. It's not surprising. With the way Jiang Jiuxuan behaved in life, it's no shock he offended some powerful entity and brought about this string of tragic reincarnations, the one-eyed man commented indifferently. Then does that mean we'll never find his current reincarnation? He keeps dying so young in every life, this latest one might have perished right after birth, someone fretted aloud. The others caught on and began looking troubled as well. Damn! Almost forgot about this. That brat Jiang Jiuxuan always bites off more than he can chew. Why would he deliberately offend someone powerful? The one-eyed man growled, visibly irritated. He had no idea how high the heavens were or how deep the earth went. It's no surprise he didn't make it past his 20s. What now? Could it be he's hiding, in someone else's body? The group panicked, but the one-eyed man barked sharply, calm down. Keep casting the spell. No matter where his soul is, even if it really is inside someone, we'll find him, carve him out if we have to. We'll continue tomorrow. The one-eyed man funneled more energy into the spell. The group of 8 showed no signs of retreat, though their faces turned pale, their determination only deepened. Through the shifting imagery in the crystal ball, time flew by, covering as much as 7 or 8 reincarnations of Jiang Jiuxuan. As I watched, anger started to bubble in my chest. This wasn't just pursuit, they wanted to eliminate him entirely. Finally, we reached the 18th reincarnation. Jiang Jiuxuan lived to the age of 15. This time, he was a fortune teller, earning a living operating a street stall. In the images, he began sensing danger, hastily packed up his stall, and returned home. Once home, he sealed the doors and windows, took out his tools, and shockingly began divining his own fortune. My expression hardened immediately. A fortune teller can divine the heavens, the earth, and the lives of others, but never their own. That's an unbreakable taboo. To violate it invites grave consequences. At best, it shortens your life, at worst, it leads to immediate death. When Jiang Jiuxuan taught me how to divine, she strictly forbade me from ever turning my skills inward. I had always remembered that command. But in the crystal ball, this version of Jiang Jiuxuan obviously understood death was near. Calculating his own destiny in his final moments seemed understandable, human, even. I wanted to know why, too. The image blurred. I could only get a rough sense of the divination symbols and patterns, but interpreting them precisely was no easy task. Thankfully, Jiang Jiuxuan muttered an enigmatic fortune to himself. Below Zhongnan Mountain, trees made of stone bloom. A celestial dog devours the sun, and shadows stir beneath its rays. A divine dragon ascends. Only if it meets the dragon maiden. The one-eyed man and his companions were dumbfounded, unable to make sense of the cryptic words. But my expression shifted. The meanings of those phrases ran deeper than most could fathom. Deciphering them would take time. Stone trees blooming? Impossible. Shadows beneath the sun? What could that imply? Just then, the dragon maiden of the Yangtze caught the last line of the fortune, her eyes gleaming ever so faintly. She froze in place. I was still deep in thought when something brought me to a halt. Within the crystal ball, this reincarnated Jiang Jiuxuan was looking directly at me. Yes, unmistakably. For eyes locked, ours meeting across lifetimes. His gaze held untold meaning, transcending a gap of 100 years. Shaken, I thought, could he have foreseen our arrival today? Before I could fully process the moment, he smiled, a quiet, knowing smile. The room he stood in was empty, no one else was there. Who could he possibly be smiling at? It had to be me. Through the barrier of time and space, his smile was meant for me. I stood stunned. It felt as though if I could ask him something, he would hear me across the century that separated us. Just as I prepared to speak, his door suddenly burst open, and a sword thrust into his chest, piercing his heart. Blood gushed forth as his breathing slowed. His pupils dilated, but remarkably, his expression held no panic. Even in death, he smiled faintly at me, as if at peace. I froze completely, overwhelmed by a flushed wave of anger bubbling up from deep within me. Thud! Jiang Jiuxuan's body hit the floor, blood soaking through his garments. He lay there alone, with not another soul in sight. I clenched my fists tightly. I could still hear his last words echoing in my mind, sparking a single, desperate thought: if I have the chance, I will avenge him. For every death he's endured across his lifetimes, I will settle that score for him. The one-eyed man and his companions grew grim. Still no lock? Increased the spell threefold. He roared his command, his hands forming intricate signs. The candle flames before them roared higher, glowing intensely. The others threw in everything they had left, but though they pushed themselves to the limit, the crystal ball flashed rapidly with fleeting, unclear glimpses. Despite their efforts, their work amounted to nothing. Even the candles began to grow dim, flickering dangerously. Two among them, less skilled in the craft, were nearly collapsing with exhaustion. The one-eyed man scowled, defeated. Is it hopeless again this time? Damn it, Heaven, you're deliberately toying with us. What does it take to find him? The others wore looks of frustration and despair. But I knew their efforts would be in vain. They lacked the power to pinpoint Jiang Jiuxuan's innumerable reappearances. With someone of the Dragon Maiden's level of cultivation, such a feat might be possible, but these men fell far short. I'm at my limit. I can't hold on anymore. It seems we won't find him after all. Jiang Jiuxuan, you slippery bastard. You eluded us in life, and now in death, not even your shadow remains. The one-eyed man and his team were pale-faced and close to hysteria, their confidence utterly shaken. Masters of major sects failing at such a task, such humiliation was hard to swallow. Panic clenched at their hearts. Not finding Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation spelled serious trouble for them. In that moment, I caught the Dragon Maiden's eye. She understood my signal. With a subtle flick of her finger, a thread of golden light emerged from her palm. The crystal ball trembled violently. Then suddenly, an image materialized, a woman delivering a baby underwater, lifting the child to the surface and passing it to a beautiful woman waiting there. The one-eyed man and his group, desperate and despondent moments earlier, were reinvigorated by the sight. It was like being handed fire in the snow. Wait, is it him? It must be. Keep going. Though at their physical and magical limits, the vision filled them with fresh determination. Jiang Jiuxuan, this life, live it well. Don't die young again, for heaven's sake. May the gods protect you. The eight intensified their spell work, coaxing the crystal ball into revealing more. The boy grew up under the care of women, his surroundings changing every year, a new place, a new life. Why's he being moved every year? Something's off. What's his story? Well, at least we know he's alive. Say, does his face seem familiar somehow? Yeah, like someone we've just seen. It's weird, unsettling, even. Look, he's grown up now. Wait. What the hell? Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation, it's him? Suddenly, all eight froze, their eyes bulging in disbelief. A collective gasp filled the room. The one-eyed man drew a sharp breath, stepping away from the crystal ball to redirect his stunned eyes toward someone among them. One after another, the rest followed, their looks of shock and awe settling on the same person. The place fell into a deafening stillness. It was me. Yes, their widened eyes full of astonishment were fixed on me. The Dragon Maiden had done it on purpose. Her spell work ensured the image in the crystal ball was of me. You're Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation? This has to be a mistake, right? Surely this can't be true? This content is from section 42 out of 52. Please handle it based on your logic and stay consistent with the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall format. Return the processed result only. How could it be? Have you all forgotten who set up this altar? The energy up there belongs to Jiang Jiuxuan, what's left of him. So, whoever is shown in the crystal ball is absolutely correct. Tisk tisk, what a perfect twist of fate. We searched endlessly for this person, and it turns out they'd been right under our noses the whole time. Could this be destiny? Cyclops and his crew fixated on me, their faces twisted with almost perverse excitement, like they'd stumbled upon some rare treasure. Their eyes glowed with fervor, and two of the women even had tears brimming in their eyes. Cyclops immediately approached with a respectful demeanor. Young man, no, young master, I truly didn't expect you to be the reincarnation of Jiang Jiuxuan. I apologize for not recognizing you earlier. Exactly. I thought to myself, how can this young man be so striking? Turns out you're Jiang Master Reborn. Please don't be angry. We honestly didn't think it was you at first. It's our mistake, and we sincerely apologize. Their attitude shifted a full 180 degrees, but while I coldly smirked inwardly, outwardly, I feigned shock. Waving my hands hastily, I replied, you must be mistaken. How could it possibly be me? The Dragon Maiden of the Yangtze River had been staring at the crystal ball this entire time, her expression contemplative as if deep in thought. The altar clearly shows you. There's no mistake. Jiang Master, don't be so modest. I've always had a good feeling about you, and my intuition is rarely wrong. Cyclops said with a sly grin. To cast doubt and keep up appearances, I continued to shake my head. You're completely mistaken. No mistake, it's definitely you. Cyclops nervously asked, Jiang Master, how much do you know about formations and arrays? All seven of them stared at me with bated breath. I answered truthfully, I know a little about formations. A little? Be specific. What do you know? Cyclops' eyes lit up. The other's eyes gleamed even brighter, like predators honing in on their prey. I can handle basic formations, I replied casually. Ever since I pored over Jiang Jiuxuan's 10 ultimate arrays, I gained a deep understanding of almost all of it. Give me the right tools and enough time, and I could replicate anything from that book. What? You can manage all of them? That's amazing. Show us how. Cyclops said, unable to contain his excitement. The others looked at me like wolves catching sight of fresh meat, their eyes sparkling greedily. There's no need for a demonstration. But the array you've set up here has significant problems. Those talismans you've used are high-grade and should ideally be effective for 10 days to half a month at least. However, your formation is a chaotic mess, completely ignoring the principles of the 5 elements and 8 trigrams. Naturally, the results are subpar. I explained without much effort. Cyclops' eyes widened in realization. The other 7 looked at me sharply, their gazes practically boring holes into my skull. Jiang Master, go on. Tell us more. Cyclops urged while sizing me up, clearly viewing me in a whole new light. If I were to set up the array, I elaborated, I'd place 8 talismans on each of the 8 trigrams' corresponding positions. Then I would balance it with 36 talismans aligned with the 5 elements. With that, the formation would be perfectly finalized. TSK, just hearing him explain makes me feel like I've had an epiphany. What about the rest of you? Cyclops asked, glancing at the others. Same here, his insights are worth more than reading 10 years of books. As expected of Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation, so young, yet already so accomplished in formations. Remarkable. The others couldn't contain their praise either. I merely chuckled inwardly. Compared to the 10 ultimate arrays, this so-called formation wasn't even worth mentioning. Jiang Master, do you remember setting up a formation in your past life at a certain place? Cyclops asked suddenly. I shook my head, as expected. Cyclops sighed heavily. Well, our ancestors discovered that the array you set up in your past life had issues. Out of goodwill, they tried to reinforce it. Unfortunately, they accidentally created a vulnerability in the process. They did their best to patch it, even sacrificing lifespan to make it somewhat stable, but it's never been as strong as it should be. It's only now, after finding you, that we have hope you can truly restore it and fulfill the wishes of our ancestors. The others put on somber faces, their expressions awash with regret. Internally, I scoffed at their shameless self-aggrandizing spiel. They were really laying it on thick. What's the name of this formation? I asked deliberately. It's called the Heaven and Earth Tenfold Array. It's one that you, Jiang Master, created yourself in your past life. Cyclops answered. The Heaven and Earth Tenfold Array, I murmured, pretending to have a sudden realization. That name had indeed been mentioned in the book. What? Jiang Master, you recognize it? Cyclops' eyes sparkled again. The others leaned in closer, their anticipation palpable. In my dreams, there have been figures who taught me how to set up arrays, especially the Heaven and Earth Tenfold Array. They've shown it to me dozens of times, and I've memorized every detail clearly. Back then, I just thought it was strange that formations I learned in dreams could work in reality. But now, listening to you, I finally understand. I must truly be Jiang Jiuxuan's reincarnation. The mysteries of the past decade have all been unraveled. I intertwined lies with a heavy sigh to conclude my narrative. Cyclops clutched my shoulders eagerly. Jiang Master. It's you. You are the one we've been searching for all along. Please, come now, and help us restore the array. Complete the unfulfilled wishes of our ancestors. Jiang Master, didn't you say you're particularly proficient in the Heaven and Earth Tenfold Array? Let's proceed to repair it immediately. The 7 others gazed at me eagerly, like children expecting candy from an elder. Seeing their blazing enthusiasm, I knew I had baited all 8 fish onto the hook. However, I couldn't waste this opportunity. I needed to negotiate some benefits in return. After all, it was clear they had their own schemes, intending to use both me and the dragon maiden as bait. Well, I feigned hesitation, furrowing my brows. Jiang Master, what's wrong? Why wouldn't you want to repair the array? Isn't it easy for you? Cyclops pressed, sounding desperate. To be honest, while I'm well versed in the Heaven and Earth Tenfold Array, repairing it poses serious difficulties, I explained. Difficulties? Tell us. We'll assist you however we can. Yes, Jiang Master. Speak freely. Whatever you need, we'll make it happen, the group echoed in agreement. The dragon maiden's eyes flickered slightly in acknowledgement. I was waiting for this moment. With a show of reluctance, I finally said, all right, since you're so sincere, I'll name 4 conditions. Jiang Master, just say the word. Whether it's 4 conditions or even 10 or 100, we swear to fulfill them, Cyclops urged, his voice syrupy as if coaxing someone into granting him a favor. The others had also turned their attention toward me. First, I'll need all the elixirs and pills you're carrying. Hand them over to me, I said without beating around the bush. Elixirs? Cyclops's expression darkened for a moment, and the others frowned as well. The reason I demanded their elixirs was simple: sever their lifelines. If things went south, I couldn't risk them triggering their desperation within the array. Why do you need elixirs? Cyclops asked cautiously. That's my first condition. Are you hesitating already? I shrugged dramatically. Cyclops fell silent, mulling it over. We didn't expect you'd ask for the elixirs. Let's just give them to him, someone suggested. This is section 43, 50 seconds. The content has been processed while maintaining the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout. Here's the result. After hesitating, the one-eyed man said, "All right, everyone, take out the pills." He exchanged glances with the others. Though unwilling, they all reluctantly took out their pills, amounting to a little over a dozen. I accepted the pills with satisfaction, while they showed expressions of heartache. Master Jiang, what's your second request? Speak, the one-eyed man grew cautious. Second, I want all the talismans left over from the array you set up previously. Hand them over. What? The one-eyed man's face darkened, and the others weren't happy either. Third, you have to give me half your yang energy to aid in casting the spell and repairing the array. This statement completely spoiled their expressions. And fourth, to guarantee the array repair goes smoothly, you must swear obedience to my instructions. Agree to that, and I'll follow you right now. This was the most critical demand. Whether they'd obey and serve as bait for me was key. Master Jiang, aren't these demands a bit too much? The one-eyed man stared at me, seemingly suspecting I had seen through their little schemes. Yeah, it's excessive. The others voiced their displeasure. A sworn vow too? We're leaders of our sex, not anyone's errand boys. The one-eyed man shook his head. Didn't you just say you could agree to anything? And now you're refusing? I sneered and turned toward the Yangtze River Dragon Lady. The one-eyed man's expression hardened, and the others looked equally unfriendly. But upon noticing the calm demeanor of the Yangtze River Dragon Lady by my side, their impulses toward coercion immediately subsided. After all, her power kept them wary. Had it been just me alone, I still had backup plans, and it wouldn't have been easy for them to strong-arm me. Master Jiang, wait a moment. The one-eyed man convened for a whispered discussion with the others. They murmured and debated back and forth for a long time before finally compromising. However, their gazes toward me remained sharp. Clearly, they intended to use me for their purpose first and deal with me later. The one-eyed man approached me. Master Jiang, we can agree to the second demand, but the third is too difficult. We need to retain some yang energy for protection. The fourth, we can accept it, but the oath will only apply to repairing the array. All right. I reluctantly nodded. Immediately, they revealed all the talismans they had with them. A rough count showed over 100, which I collected without hesitation. I've used these types of talismans before. As for the vow, I had them release a bit of their yang energy and swear before the Yangtze River Dragon Lady. The Dragon Lady captured their yang energy and began casting a spell, a glow lighting up in her palm. She opened her hand, and the yang energy from the 8 disappeared, replaced by a small mark of light at the center of their brows. This was the oath. It wasn't as binding as a blood oath, but it was strong enough to ensure their compliance. If the oath were broken, the consequences would range from misfortune and severe injury to a complete destruction of cultivation or even being struck to death by lightning. With this, the 8 of them became my bait, possibly without even realizing it. The one-eyed man and the others suppressed their fury and forced a smile. Master Jiang, are you satisfied now? They were indeed sect leaders, composed and dignified. Such people were the scariest, stooping to anything to achieve their goals. Even if you ordered them to eat dirt, they'd obey, though their resentment and plans for revenge would not dissipate. Good, let's depart now, I said. The one-eyed man heaved a sigh of relief. After some brief preparations, we set off toward the mysterious cave. Walking at the back with the Yangtze River Dragon Lady, she reassured me the oath was absolutely binding, bringing me some peace of mind. Soon, we arrived at the array formation. Looking around, the talismans were holding off the black mist, but their glow was dim and wouldn't last much longer. What a waste. If I had set up the array, it could have lasted half a month. The one-eyed man activated the array's opening, though something strange occurred. The black mist didn't surge outward or spread. Instead, it remained eerily still. It had been frantically expanding before, hadn't it? The one-eyed man led the way in, and the others followed. The Yangtze River Dragon Lady and I trailed behind. Once engulfed by the black mist, the silence was suffocating, no energy fluctuations, just an unsettling stillness. Could it be that the 9 primordial demon lord had quieted down inside? The more still it was, the more it filled my chest with foreboding. Could this all be a trap, luring us in? Was the 9 primordial demon lord waiting for us to step into their jaws? After all, I'd already calculated that there was an 11th person involved. The one-eyed man in his group, unfamiliar with the demon lord's distance-based magic, barged forward boldly. They aimed directly for the array without hesitation. The dragon lady and I noticed anomalies, so we slowed down our steps. Master Jiang, hurry up, the one-eyed man urged impatiently. They were eager to locate treasured magical artifacts. Reluctantly, the dragon lady and I hastened our pace. We walked for a long time, and nothing happened, though the environment evoked the sensation of drifting through an endless void or dreamscape. The quieter it got, the more dread crept into my heart. The one-eyed man's group came to a stop, looking skyward. The black mist grew denser, clearly indicating we were nearing the array's rupture. Master Jiang, up ahead is the breach, the one-eyed man pointed. Looking ahead, I saw a massive light barrier shrouding the distance, radiant with flowing spiritual light, untouched for years. But the rupture at its edge was strikingly out of place, a 3 to 4 meter wide hole oozing black mist, the edges jagged and patchy, marked with countless hasty repairs. It was downright unsightly. One could only imagine the difficulties they had faced while trying to patch the array. This alone proved that Jiang Jiuxuan's expertise in arrays far surpassed their capabilities. Even after all these years, they still couldn't catch up. Furthermore, residual thunderbolts lingered around the rupture, evidently left behind by the Yellow River Dragon King's earlier mischief. Without those thunder strikes, the rupture wouldn't have become so severe. It seemed as though everything was destined to unfold this way. Master Jiang, stop staring and get started already, the one-eyed man prodded impatiently. Snapping out of my thoughts, I said, right. All of you, listen carefully, every word I say must be followed exactly, or the array can't be repaired. Don't worry. Whatever you say, we'll obey. The one-eyed man and his group nodded eagerly, desperate to move forward. I nodded, discreetly communicating with the lightning-struck bamboo spirit to identify not only the celestial energy within this mysterious cave but its precise direction and location. Only by doing this could I fully harness the potential of the 8 bait before me. This matter was critical, it even concerned my life. I couldn't afford the slightest mistake. After finishing my communication, I spoke up. This Heaven and Earth Decade Array, you've been working with it for years. Are you at least familiar with its basics? The one-eyed man nodded. Roughly, yes. But the array's essence remains elusive to us, which is why we failed to repair it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have sought your help, Master Jiang. Roughly? I sneered. No wonder their repair work turned into this mess. To patch the array, the heart or the core array point must be located first. You understand that, right? Yes, we understand, they nodded hurriedly. And this core lies within the array, correct? That's right. Every time we've tried to repair it, we've gone inside, they confirmed. This is section 4450 seconds. Following my logic while maintaining the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall format, here is the processed content. That being said, I doubt they have the guts to go deeper. Are you sure? I asked. The one-eyed man froze. Everyone exchanged uneasy glances. If you're sure, then why is the result still the same after the fix? Their expressions shifted as doubt began to creep in. Could we have gotten the heart of the formation wrong? Someone murmured. Getting the heart wrong? That's impossible, another retorted. I already told you we needed to go deeper, but you didn't listen. When have you ever seen the heart of a formation near the edge? They mumbled among themselves, visibly troubled, with some even looking a bit aggrieved. I chimed in, judging by the size of this formation, the heart has to be at least 10 miles deeper to the left. You haven't even found the real formation heart. 10 miles? That's way too deep. Going that far is too dangerous. What if we stumble upon something inside? The one-eyed man and his group erupted in a panic, their faces growing pale. If it's too far, are you still trying to fix this or not? I hit them right at their weak spot. A tense silence followed, before the one-eyed man gritted his teeth and asked, what next? You'll need to head to the formation heart. Start from there as the center, and walk 108 steps respectively in the east, south, and north directions. Plant 15 formation flags at each point, gold flags to the east, water flags to the south, earth flags to the north. I instructed. Their faces showed hesitation, as they mulled over the task. After planting the flags, you'll also need to head 308 steps west and prepare 5 elemental items. I added. Their brows furrowed deeply. After a brief discussion, they reluctantly agreed. The one-eyed man turned his gaze toward me. "And what about you, Master Jiang?" Everyone, including the dragon lady of the Yangtze River, looked at me. "Don't worry. I won't just stay here waiting. I have to head in and locate the heaven-earth position of the formation to place the 5 elemental items myself," I explained. "Of course, if you think you can find the heaven-earth position yourselves, we can switch. I'll go to the formation heart instead." "No problem. Don't fall for it. There's no way the heaven-earth position is a mere 10 miles from the formation's entrance." "Let him go," someone whispered to the one-eyed man smugly, as though their insight was unparalleled. The one-eyed man threw me a calculating glance. "Fine, we'll leave it to you, Master Jiang." "No problem." I nodded. "When you plant the formation flags, wait for my signal. I'll need to locate the heaven-earth position first, and we must plant everything at the same time to ensure success." "Got it." I handed them a talisman. "Use this for the signal." The one-eyed man took the talisman and pocketed it. "Let's not waste any more time, move out," I urged. The one-eyed man nodded, glancing sharply at both me and the dragon lady. His gaze was unforgiving. Then, he motioned for his group to take out their implements, but they didn't make the first move. Instead, they stared us down intently. That expression said it all. They were using us as bait. But this worked in my favor. The more the one-eyed man thought himself clever, the easier he'd be to manipulate. I understood their hesitation. They were afraid we'd shirk our task and wanted us to go in first. Such small-mindedness. I entered the cavern with the dragon lady. The entrance split into multiple tunnels, like entering the mouth of a massive bottle, wide and spacious inside. The moment we stepped in, we masked our presence. Walking over 100 meters, we heard their chaotic footsteps fade gradually into the distance. They must have finally eased their suspicions and decided to head toward the formation heart. They said most of the creatures here should have been drawn away. "It should be safe near the heart," the dragon lady remarked. Thanks to her sharp hearing, she had picked up their innermost thoughts. They also plan to get rid of us once the formation is fixed, leaving us to be killed by the 9-origin demon lord, she continued. I smirked coldly. "Try to outwit me? Not a chance." The dragon lady asked, "So how are you going to have them distract the 9-origin demon lord?" "Isn't that exactly what I'm already doing, having them draw the 9-origin demon lord's attention?" I replied with a sly smile. She paused, and I clarified, "You don't actually think I'm helping them fix this formation, do you?" I couldn't care less about that. The only reason I came here was for celestial energy. By the end of the month, I have to deal with the gods in heaven. Why would I waste time helping them? I'm no saint. Then why did you tell them the real location of the formation heart? She wondered. These crafty old foxes wouldn't believe me without a morsel of truth. The location of the heart is accurate, and directing them to plant the flags is real, too. However, the part about burying the 5 elements to the west, that's where I lied. What's the lie? Her eyes lit up with curiosity. I specifically sent them to that spot because there's a treasure there and artifacts similar to the ones they carry. I noticed a faint deathly aura on their faces. This treasure is something the 9-origin demon lord particularly covets. If the one-eyed man and his crew can't resist its allure and pick it up, the demon lord will instantly be drawn to them, I explained. The dragon lady cast me a knowing glance. Got it. My purpose isn't to find any so-called heaven-earth position. All that talk about moving together was merely a cover for my true goal, preparing to seize the celestial energy. Now I'll head directly to where the celestial energy is. Once I get there, I'll signal the decoys to act. With their greed, there's no doubt they'll fall for the bait. Once the 9-origin demon lord is drawn away, I'll grab the celestial energy and we'll make a quick escape. They did swear an oath, so I trust they'll do their part, I added. All right. The dragon lady nodded. It seems making me an advisor was the right choice. These people may be cunning, but they're still under your control. Of course, it's largely due to luck on their part. I'm a fortune teller, I can see right through their thoughts. Well, except, I can't control you, I retorted. You want to control me? She asked coldly, her piercing gaze sizing me up. No, not at all. I laughed awkwardly. Only those truly competent deserve to control me. With that, she turned and continued forward. I stood there stunned for a second before hurrying to catch up. This cave was bizarre. Massive stalactites hung precariously above, while dense black mist obscured everything, so dark you couldn't see your own hand. Danger felt imminent. Who could guarantee nothing would emerge from the left at any moment? Thankfully, my eyesight was sharp, allowing me to see about 20 meters ahead. The dragon lady, with her greater cultivation, could probably see 100 meters or more. Scattered on the ground were broken clothes wrapping skeletons, a chilling reminder of the over 2,000 lives lost here centuries ago. They were doomed. Yet, the lack of visible repairs at the formation's rupture struck me as odd. What about the dragon group leader? Where was Master Jiang Jiuxuan? Worry not at me. The air was suffocatingly silent, no sounds of animals, no signs of life. The atmosphere was hauntingly eerie. Even more troubling was how unnaturally still the black mist was. Not long ago, the mist had formed a colossal hand, crushing a deity's intent and leaving the Dragon King of the Yellow River's fate uncertain. A creeping sense of dread began to take hold. Is the Nine Origins demon sovereign hiding somewhere in this cave, sneering as she watches the One-Eyed Dragons group and keeping an eye on me and the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden? If that's the case, wouldn't we and the One-Eyed Dragon group just become the prey of a hunter waiting patiently? Hopefully, it's not like that. Otherwise, extracting this celestial aura would be nearly impossible, let alone making it out alive. I could only maintain an optimistic view while preparing for the worst-case scenario. Taking advantage of the fact that the dark aura remained unmoved, we quickened our pace. The cave extended in all directions, like fissures in the earth's crust or perhaps like an underground city. Guided by the lightning strike bamboo, we sped toward the source of the celestial aura. Thankfully, there were no incidents along the way, and we soon closed in on our target. The Yangtze River Dragon Maiden and I suppressed our energy and slowed our steps, though our hearts only grew more tense. The smoother things go, the more likely it's a trap. At this point, all we can do is pray that the Nine Origins demon sovereign hasn't taken notice of us. This spot is reached after passing through two forks in the path. There's no sign of corpses here, which suggests no one else has been here before. We hid ourselves behind the rocks, ensuring we were fully concealed. The two of us cautiously peered into the dark cave. It was pitch black inside, the entrance covered in intact spider webs, a clear sign that it had been untouched for ages. "Sir, the celestial aura is in there," the lightning strike bamboo confirmed, easing my worries slightly. I asked, "Is there enough celestial aura?" "There's more than enough. If there were too much, I wouldn't even be able to absorb it," the bamboo replied. She hadn't yet ascended to celestial status, and taking an excessive celestial aura could prove disastrous. It could even cause her to burst apart. Extreme caution was necessary. However, I had a hunch. Could this place hold celestial relics left behind by the Nine Origins demon sovereign? That would explain the lingering celestial aura. It must be so. I imagined that after being exiled to the mortal realm, the Nine Origins demon sovereign, full of stubborn pride, saw her demotion by the Heavenly Emperor as unjust. Perhaps she decided to abandon her celestial identity entirely, discarding the celestial artifacts she had used in heaven like mere rubbish, not wanting them to remind her of what she lost. Moreover, her malevolence after descending to the mortal world was likely her way of seeking revenge against the Heavenly Emperor. To be cast down from the divine heights to the mortal plane, someone like her would never resign herself to such a fate. She's like an eagle forced to live among chickens. Without food or drink, she would inevitably view mortals as mere materials to exploit at her whim. That's why the Nine Origins demon sovereign's mind is undoubtedly twisted now. That means we need to be all the more careful. The Yangtze River Dragon Maiden and I stared at the cave for several minutes. Seeing no movement, I prepared to use bait. I pulled out a talisman. A diversion was in order. I crushed the talisman, sending a signal. At the same time, the talismans held by the One-Eyed Dragons group also detonated. I watched in their direction while the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden closed her eyes, extending her senses. They've received the signal over there," she said. Judging by the sounds, they'd begun taking action. I listened intently. They were eager, rushing to complete their formation repairs. Upon receiving the signal, they immediately sprang into motion. "They're getting overly excited," the Dragon Maiden continued. "They've spotted the decoy artifact you intentionally left behind, and they're fighting over it. There's even a hint of conflict brewing, though the One-Eyed Dragon quickly intervened to rein them in. They're mocking you now," she added. "Calling you a clueless good luck charm. They think you're foolish for giving them a treasure artifact while they were patching the formation. They don't even want to kill you anymore because of it. They're certainly not sparing me out of kindness though," she concluded, opening her eyes. I was momentarily dumbfounded. "They're not planning to feel something for you?" She cut me off. "Don't say anything disgusting. I don't want to hear that kind of talk," the Dragon Maiden said firmly. I coughed awkwardly. "All right then. At least your words don't disgust me," she added, then shut her eyes again. "They're still wrestling over the artifact," she said. "But in their frenzy, they accidentally broke something." A sharp, piercing sound echoed out, "And now there's panic." Not long after, her eyes snapped open, a gleam in them. The One-Eyed Dragon panicked, saying they could sense a powerful presence nearing. Now they're turning on one another, arguing and trading accusations. My eyes lit up with triumph. Success! The 8 individuals in the diversionary group have finally lured the 9 Origins demon sovereign over. There was no time to waste. The one-eyed dragons team might be strong enough to dominate in other situations, but against the once divine 9 Origins demon sovereign, they wouldn't last more than a few seconds. Even working together, they could only hold out for a moment. From now on, every second counts. This is the countdown for the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden and me to escape from here. I began to suspect my earlier tension was mere overthinking. Hopefully, things truly go our way this time. I must seize every opportunity. I darted toward the cave, its entrance covered in spider webs. The Yangtze River Dragon Maiden blocked my path, saying, "Be careful. Let me go first." With a gentle wave of her hand, the webs were swept aside. The cave remained still, with no traps or defensive formations in sight. Clearly, there were no signs of life. She then snapped her fingers. A ball of flame, like a makeshift torch, floated into the cave, illuminating it. At last, I could see inside. The cave wasn't large but resembled a study. Paintings and calligraphy adorned the walls. In the corner, a pile of artworks had been carelessly discarded, as if they were trash. My expression darkened. Even the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden froze in surprise. Neither of us had expected such a serene and refined space in the 9 Origins demon sovereign's lair. We ventured inside. Sure enough, the calligraphy and paintings in the corner were castaways of the demon sovereigns. I crouched down to examine them. They were dusty, unsigned, and unnamed. Yet, their artistic depth and grandiose spirit far surpassed contemporary works, soul-stirring and profoundly impactful. The strokes were delicate, unmistakably the work of a woman. Could these be the creations of the 9 Origins demon sovereign herself? How odd. How could a demon sovereign demoted to the mortal plane possess such cultivated refinement? These works were discarded as if to shed her celestial identity. Thinking of the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden's fondness for art, I asked, "Why do women often take such a liking to painting and calligraphy?" She replied with a counter-question, "What do you think I should do instead?" That left me speechless. She wasn't wrong. Thousands of years ago, without phones or videos, one needed hobbies to pass the time. The Dragon Maiden elaborated, "I have a friend who loves brewing alcohol. Her place is stocked with centuries-old fine wines. Even celestial immortals place orders with her. Another friend takes passion in mixing perfumes." I couldn't help but comment, "Nowadays you could just play on your phone." She retorted with a sharp, "Tried it. Not entertaining," silencing me once again. I asked her, "So, what kind of personality does someone who loves painting and calligraphy have?" While flipping through the works, their lofty themes became more evident. Many depicted pastoral landscapes and rural homes, showcasing the creator's profound state of mind. A divine being with such stellar talent, why were they banished to the mortal world? Surely there's some hidden story behind it. These masterpieces instantly drew the Yangtze River Dragon Maiden's attention. Her eyes lit up. Softly, she said, "I dislike being interrupted. I prefer to paint and write alone." Then she muttered to herself, "Why can't I create works like these? Am I missing something?" I pointed at her forehead, and she squinted at me, saying, "You're the one with a problem." As I continued flipping through, I picked up a scroll, and suddenly, a faint mystical glow emanated from a black brush. The light was so pure and calming that it brought me peace. Clearly, this brush wasn't any ordinary item, it was a divine artifact from the heavens. My eyes lit up, and excitement surged within me. Immortal energy. I've found immortal energy. I quickly clasped the brush in my hand. It felt solid, perfectly balanced. It was evident that this was one of the 9 Essence Demon Lord's tools for passing the time in the celestial realm. I immediately communicated with Thunderstruck Bamboo. The immortal energy I sensed earlier, it's coming from this brush. I asked her how to absorb it, and Thunderstruck Bamboo told me it just needed to be placed alongside her. Wasting no time, I did as instructed, eager for her to draw out the immortal energy quickly. At that moment, the Changjiang Dragon Maiden's eyes fixed on the brush. I asked, "Are you interested in it?" I assumed she might want to use it to improve her painting and calligraphy skills, but even as an amateur, I knew tools didn't make the artist, and she certainly lacked the innate talent. "No," she replied. "Then, after Thunderstruck Bamboo absorbs the energy, I'll hand it to you?" I offered. "All right," she nodded. Now that I had the immortal energy, I wasn't intent on lingering any longer. I quickly prepared to leave. Just as I stood, my expression changed. Squatting back down, I unfurled another scroll. In the painting was the back of a woman. The scene on either side of her was strange, one side bursting with vibrant rapeseed blossoms, the other desolate with barren deserts and scattered white bones. And yet, the woman was walking toward the lifeless, deathly still side. This was so extreme. What could it signify? My first thought was that she must be utterly dispirited, like someone standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to leap. Even the Changjiang dragon maiden froze. This dragon maiden, what do you think? I asked. She stared for a few moments before saying, life and death. She chooses death. Choosing death? Courting death is more like it. After all, ever since she descended to the mortal realm, she began killing people. If that's not self-destruction, what is it? Or could there be more to her story? Although I hadn't met her before, I couldn't help but feel she was far from ordinary. Perhaps, she had no other choice, the Changjiang dragon maiden muttered softly. I paused, wondering if even the nine-essence demon lord could have a gentle and quiet side? Just as I was about to put the scroll away, the Changjiang dragon maiden became engrossed in it. Without hesitation, I quickly rolled it up and handed it to her. She seemed surprised but accepted it and tucked it away. We immediately bolted out of the cave, heading straight for the formation's exit. Once we were out, I felt a little dazed. Was it really this smooth? Even the Changjiang dragon maiden's expression wavered with doubt. The smoother it went, the more on edge I became. I scanned my surroundings warily, my heartbeat accelerating, the feeling of imminent danger creeping up like shadows in the forest. No time for overthinking, we quickened our pace. The dark aura nearby remained calm and unchanging, which only heightened my sense of unease. I couldn't let my guard down. 5 kilometers left, the dragon maiden alerted me. The two of us raced onward, completely ignoring the fate of one-eyed dragon and the others. All we wanted was to get out of this alive. 3 kilometers, she said, her tone sharp. 2 kilometers. Just 1 more kilometer. When she uttered that number, my chest tightened even further. Just as we thought we were about to escape without incident, an ear-splitting, blood-curdling scream pierced the air. My heart clenched instantly. This meant one-eyed dragon and his group had somehow caught up. This also meant that the nine-essence demon lord was too overwhelmingly powerful for them. 8 people had been reduced to a frantic retreat in an instant. I was thoroughly disappointed in them. These 8 were supposed to serve as bait, but before we had even made it to safety, they had all converged here? This was face-to-face combat with the enemy. The tension was at its peak. The Changjiang dragon maiden and I exchanged a glance, immediately deciding to run for our lives. But reality hit us like a harsh slap. Before we could react, a blood-soaked figure flew toward us. It was one of the bait, a man with a terrified expression. From his fate line, deathly energy was already rising. He crashed against the wall, exploding in a mist of blood, his death absolute. Mortals stand no chance against divine beings utterly powerless. The scene shook me to my very core. For the first time, I truly questioned, which celestial being would descend to take my head in the future? Could I somehow stop that from happening? In the dead man's hand was a dull sword, not an ordinary weapon but one of the nine-essence demon lord's implements. This was part of the plan, for them to retrieve such items. Yet, for them, it had turned into a death sentence instead. The nine-essence demon lord had made her move. The Changjiang dragon maiden and I realized there was only one last slim chance for escape. Suddenly, run! I heard the one-eyed dragon shout and saw him struggling toward us alongside 3 others. He looked pale, blood dripping from the corner of his mouth, and held a short blade that seemed to be part of a divine weapon set. 3 others followed behind him, terror etched across their faces. One had lost an arm, another's head was drenched in blood, and the third had half his face crushed in, one eye barely hanging on. They all gripped short swords tightly. The moment one-eyed dragon spotted us, his face lit up with desperate hope like a drowning man spotting a lifeline. He dashed toward us at lightning speed, leaving afterimages in his wake. I sneered inwardly. So, the old fox intended to drag us into his problems as distractions to buy himself time to escape. Not a chance. Another scream echoed in that moment. I turned just in time to see one of his followers flung into the air and then smashed to the ground, reduced to a bloody pulp. The stench of blood filled the air. Before I could even process it, yet another scream rang out. A woman following one-eyed dragon had her body grotesquely twisted, like being struck by a massive boulder, and within moments she was nothing more than gore. Fragile beyond belief. Even one-eyed dragon was visibly horrified, his face drained of all color. Behind him, the last man had completely lost it. He soiled himself in terror. What remained of the group's dignity, of one-eyed dragon's status as a sect leader? All gone. The Changjiang dragon maiden's gaze turned somber. Gulp. Witnessing such carnage and frailty made me recall how thousands of people entered this place a millennium ago, with none returning. Without a doubt, They must have been obliterated just like this. My heart pounded furiously. I was nervous beyond words. What should we do? The nine-essence demon lord was so powerful. Could this really be the end for the Changjiang dragon maiden in me? A heavy sense of impending doom enveloped me, more intense than when I faced the Yellow River Dragon King. After all, this was a legendary celestial force. The Changjiang dragon maiden remained calm, though her gaze grew more resolute. Master Zhang, help me. Together, we can fight her. One-eyed dragon cried desperately as he approached, nearly in tears, sweat rolling off his head like a faucet left open. How could this man be a sect leader? Now, reduced to a pathetic, helpless figure, a dog with nowhere to run. I shook my head. Even in death, one ought to retain dignity. Die like a man. Before I could utter another word, One-Eyed Dragon suddenly produced a sinister black talisman and flung it toward us. It emitted eerie green energy, forming two chains aimed to bind the Changjiang dragon maiden and me. Here's the translation while maintaining the original structure and layout. Let me borrow your heads for a while today. Behave yourselves and keep her off my back. If I escape, I'll make sure you get plenty of rewards. One-Eyed Dragon sneered coldly. The Yangtze River dragon lady's eyes were sharp as blades, but I kept my composure. This old sneak is truly devious. He wants to use talismans to trap us, just to buy time against the ninefold demon lord? Dream on. I was just about to make my move when the dragon lady gently blew, and, in an instant, the shackles disintegrated. At the same time, One-Eyed Dragon pulled out a second talisman, slapped it against his body, and his speed instantly surged 3 to 4 times, turning him into a blur. He thought he was getting away excitedly. But suddenly, the last person behind him screamed tragically before exploding with a thunderous boom. Panic seized One-Eyed Dragon, and he fled desperately. Yet, the black mist thickened and became sticky, like he was trapped in quicksand, slowing him down drastically. Clutching his head, he shrieked, "Ah! My head's killing me! Spare me, I'll never dare again! Master Zhang, Dragon King, save me!" he wailed in despair, tears streaming, his face twisted in agony. But the black mist relentlessly pressed down until his head exploded into a bloody mist right in front of us. One-Eyed Dragon's headless corpse stumbled a few steps before collapsing, lifeless. One by one, the 8 sect leaders perished. The sects would soon be left leaderless. My plan had only half succeeded. Although we managed to seize the celestial essence, they couldn't survive long enough for the dragon lady and me to escape safely. After all, I'm still no match for this demon, no, this god. Aware there was no chance of escape, we resolved to fight to the death. Even if rivers of blood flowed, we would never kneel and beg. I stared ahead, watching as the once quiet black mist began to shift, like an unfathomable abyss. The oppressive sensation was indescribable. I felt my pores tingle, and despite my best efforts to stay composed, cold sweat dripped uncontrollably. The surrounding black mist grew heavier, like hundreds of hands weighing down on me. Whhhhhh. Not far ahead, the black mist started to churn and roil violently. The dragon lady and I both knew it was the ninefold demon lord's arrival. Thump, thump, thump. My heart pounded wildly. The dragon lady removed the golden veil from her face and softly said to me, "It's okay." Her voice was gentle and enchanting, leaving me momentarily stunned. "For fortune or survival, pity us." Amidst worldly clamor, where do I go from here? With strokes of ink and brush, I rise from death. A soft whisper came from an unfamiliar woman, raising every hair on my body. From the darkness, a woman's figure slowly appeared. Her face was obscured, but her noble figure was undeniable. Shrouded in darkness, I couldn't even sense her presence, as if she weren't human. So, this is the ninefold demon lord, banished to the mortal realm? Somehow, it wasn't what I expected. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. But, staring at her silhouette, there was an odd sense of familiarity, as though I had seen her somewhere before. I quickly racked my brain, but I couldn't recall anything. The dragon lady kept her sharp gaze fixed on her. The three of us remained in silence, no one daring to break it first. Yet inside, every second of this silence felt unbearable. "Are you afraid of me?" the ninefold demon lord asked as she walked forward. Her gaze pierced through me, and I felt completely exposed, panic-stricken. "No, you don't seem afraid, do you?" She turned her attention to the dragon lady. The dragon lady's expression didn't waver. "I knew when you arrived. Compared to those greedy for power, you two are decent. You only took 2 things from me." Her voice was soft, yet it stabbed at the eardrums like needles, a sound more terrifying than a sentence delivered on the gallows. "Now, should I kill you, or have some fun with you first? Choose." Her cold, steely gaze locked onto us. Neither the dragon lady nor I moved a muscle. I just played a game with those 8 people earlier. They lost and refused to admit it, so I had to kill them all, one by one. They were so slow at running, it was boring. As she spoke, her tone was casual, as if 8 lives meant no more than ants to her. What's your game? I'll play, said the dragon lady. Oh, you'll play? Then you plan on protecting this boy? The ninefold demon lord asked offhandedly. Let him go, the dragon lady replied. Stunned, I quickly retorted, Dragon lady, let's leave together. No, she shook her head. You leave. What about you? I asked. It doesn't matter. I've only got a month to live. You're different, a lot younger. If you die here, my efforts would have been for nothing. The dragon lady's words were calmer than the demon lord's, as though she had long accepted her fate. I instantly refused. How could I leave her behind? Flee alone? Not a chance. I despise those who abandon ship and forget gratitude. My master taught me to stand by friends, unwavering, and now I do the same. The ninefold demon lord interrupted me. Shoo. This is my game, not yours. After being dormant for so long, it's rare to meet someone like you too. I must think of a good way to entertain myself. She smirked at us, her cold laughter echoing. Play, and maybe you'll live. Refuse, and you'll die. The dragon lady and I exchanged looks. I whispered, if it's a game, I'll play with her. The dragon lady stayed silent. Well, the demon lord asked again. All right, we said in unison. If there was even a sliver of hope, we had to seize it. To survive was to have the chance for revenge. The demon lord grinned. Good. I'm always fair. If you can take one strike from me without spitting blood, falling, or dying, I'll let you walk away. If anyone spits blood, falls back 3 steps, or retreats, they die. I hate numbers greater than 3. No magic tools allowed. Just block with your body, hands, head, whatever. My heart sank. This was clearly a divine strike. Who could possibly withstand it? Even if I somehow survived, I'd be gravely injured. We stood no chance. It was like dangling hope before us, only to snuff it out immediately. I couldn't contain my rage. Fine. I'll play your game. Betting everything on this, I, Long Shiba asterisk, am unafraid. Steeling myself for this near impossible chance, I vowed to survive. There were still so many things I hadn't done. I couldn't die yet. And I needed the dragon lady to live. I'd take her strike instead. Let's begin. The demon lord waved her hand grandly. No running. If you flee, you forfeit, and I'll kill you both.